Welcome to our reading of the book of John, or some would say the letter from John. We are in day 44, chapter 14, and if you're just tuning in to this playlist, I would encourage you to go back to day 1 and listen all the way through. Most of the messages are just 5, 6, 7 minutes long. I've tried to break this down into bite-sized pieces so it's digestible. And if you have been listening and watching for some time, I would encourage you to go back to chapter 1 and read through the book of John, because the advantages of breaking it down into bite-sized pieces are great, but we don't want to lose the continuity of the book itself. So I think that would be very helpful for you. In any case, let's go on with today's episode, day 44, chapter 14. We're going to be looking at verses 12 through 17. Jesus is still speaking, and he says, "Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these will he do, because I am going to my Father. Whatever you ask in my name, this I will do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you ask me anything in my name, I will do it. If you love me, you will keep my commandments, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another helper to be with you forever, even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees him nor knows him. You know him, for he dwells with you and will be in you." All right. Jesus continues to speak words that will prepare his disciples for his departure, which is coming real soon. And we have to be careful how we think about these first couple of sentences that we see in today's passage. You should not be surprised that in a world of fallen, sinful men, false teaching and plain old bad interpretation is common. So, let's think about this. We've seen Jesus work incredible miracles, even raising a person from the dead. And it seems like Jesus is saying whoever believes in him will do miracles even greater than the ones that he has performed. Let's think. It is clear that the reason Jesus did the works that he did was to prove that not only had he come from the Father, but that he was the Son of God as well. We've seen that throughout these 14 chapters. And even many of the Jewish leaders noted no one could do the works that Jesus did unless he was from God or was God. I think we can all agree that we are not God. So, what are these greater works that he's referring to? I believe we have to look a little further in today's passage to get the meaning. Jesus says he's going to send another helper that will be with us forever and dwell in our hearts. This is exactly what happened after Jesus' death, resurrection, and his return to heaven to be with the Father. Now, we would have to look at the book of Acts, ACTS, for the whole story. But believers in Jesus are empowered by God to do things that are beyond their abilities. Jesus' teaching and ministry was limited to a small area in the world, but since his return to heaven, the impact of Jesus Christ has changed the entire world. What Jesus did in a short period of time in Judea was only the foundation for something that would be much greater in size and scope, produced through the obedience of his followers. So, in that sense, those who love and follow Jesus have done far greater works than Jesus. Another opportunity for abusing the words of Jesus comes when Jesus says, "Whatever you ask in my name, this I will do." There are many false teachers in the world that seize on this verse to claim that we can treat God like a cosmic vending machine. But if we stop to think about this and the many reasons why this is an affront to God, we will dismiss this kind of thinking immediately. For example, do we know better than God what is good for us? Do we have his wisdom? Can we foresee the consequences of being granted anything that we ask for? And what about actual experience? Have those who have asked for healing all been healed? Why do we still have cancer? Hasn't anyone prayed and asked God to make that go away? So, what does it mean? I believe it means that God will grant anything we ask, as long as it isn't selfish, sinfully motivated, and it is according to the teachings of Jesus. Put another way, God will grant us our prayer requests for things that are clearly in his will for his children. For example, a humble prayer to God to make us more like his Son is one that God will do for us. A sincere request that God make us more loving or more patient is a prayer that God will answer in the affirmative. Moving on to the next section, Jesus tells them, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments." This is the true test to know if someone really believes in Jesus. Many people say they believe in Jesus, but don't want to obey what he has said. Clearly, if someone is unwilling to obey Jesus, he doesn't really know him. What follows that statement is the promise that Jesus will ask his Father to send another helper. He calls him the Spirit of Truth, and we might say that the one who has been walking and talking to the Jewish people for the past 3 years is the man of truth. Note that Jesus says he's going to send another helper, and like Jesus, many will not receive him because they neither know Jesus nor the Spirit. What will this new helper do? He will continue to teach the disciples of Jesus truth and will strengthen them as they seek to obey Jesus and teach others. We'll learn more about him in the next episode. So let's wrap it up. Jesus is about to return to his Father, but when he does, another helper like him will be with his followers forever. This is incredibly important because initially believing in Jesus is only the first step in the life of a Christian. Believers need God's help to live out the Christian life in a way that honors him for the rest of their time here. So we are thankful that the Lord has sent another. Thanks for listening in, and I hope to see you in the next one.